Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about the web link event rewards and are they actually active or not. So this is the 50% Meseta boost, the 10% more EXP gain, and the 36% rare drop rate increase. So the TLDR is, yes, they are active, but there's a couple more things that I need to elaborate on. As I could see from yesterday's video, you guys were not very happy with my 36-second recap of the patch notes. But before we jump into that, if you're new to the channel, I upload PSO2 content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate a subscribe as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. Alright, first of all, we need to address a bunch of bugs. The first bug is Urgent Quest boss sometimes do not become down. Now this bug has been existing since the beginning of time, since NGS started. I just don't experience it very often, but when I do experience it, it is infuriating. So for those who don't know what this bug is when you empty the down gauge, which is the gauge under the boss's HP, usually they go into a down state where you get to hit the boss for free basically, and it doesn't fly around, it doesn't hit you, and it is immobile. However, there are times where you empty the gauge and the boss ignores it and he's just like, haha, I have God mode, lol. And then you're just forced to beat the boss without it ever going into its down state, and elemental downs don't work anymore when this bug happens as well, and it's just a pain in the butt. It makes like your regular 6 to 8 minute run into like a 14 or 20-minute run, right? It's really horrible. Well, they're looking into it. I could swear they posted this like 2 weeks ago and then they say they resolved the issue and then it's here again, so it must be a different issue which is causing the bosses to suddenly activate God mode or something. But either way, I'm happy that Sega is addressing it. The next bug applies to all of my bow bravers out there. The follow-up attack damage from the charged dimensional ray bow photon art do not affect enemies' body parts. So this goes a little bit deeper. It says here, we have confirmed that the follow-up attack damage from the charged version of the bow photon art dimensional ray does not affect enemies' body parts, and the increased weak point damage doesn't get applied, and quick food effect is not being applied. So this is kind of a big deal because all the bow bravers out there, you know, the charged dimensional ray is like extra damage and it's really useful in breaking enemy parts very quickly because you're getting extra shots down, extra hits. But yeah, they're not applying the weak point damage, which is like the blue numbers. They're not applying your food buffs, which you can get even more weak point damage. And it's not affecting the enemy's body parts, which means it's not actually going to be breaking the parts if you only use the charged version of Dimensional Ray. Now, to be fair, it's not even possible to just use the charged version of Dimensional Ray, because the way Dimensional Ray works is you cast it and then for every photon art you cast that hits an enemy, it will just deal additional damage. So most players probably don't even know that this bug exists, but they just feel like the bow braver is really weak in certain departments and they're like, it feels off, and it could be because of this. Now the last bug has been plaguing me for the past 2 weeks. I've been crashing like every hour, every 2 hours, and now I finally know why. It says here, the game sometimes crashes during combat at Vanford Laboratory Ruins. We have confirmed a bug where the game sometimes crash during combat at Vanford Laboratory Ruins, and we are currently working to fix this issue. It just so happens that the only place I grind is Vanford Laboratories, so that explains why I'm crashing there all the time. So what I'm gonna be doing now, if I just start crashing consecutively, is I'm just gonna move to Mount Magnus, I'm gonna move to Rezel Forest, because sometimes it's very infuriating. Like, I would hit a PSE burst, my game would crash, I would log in, the PSE burst would be over, or it would start storming, and then my game would crash, and it really killed the mood, you know? The way that I like to play the game is I warm up to the game, you know? I start grinding a little bit, like maybe 10-20 minutes into it, then I'm just like, yeah, I got the rhythm, I got that flow, and then we just keep going, and next thing you know, it's like 3 hours have passed and I'm still grinding. But if I get interrupted in that 3-hour period where I just suddenly crash and gotta reopen the game and log in and blah blah blah, that it just really kills the mood for me, and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to grind anymore, blah blah blah. So I'm glad that they addressed the issue. I'm glad that it's not just my computer or just me being crazy, and it's actually a bug in Vanford Laboratories. So if you guys are crashing the same way, just avoid Vanford for now. Go somewhere else, go Rezo Forest, go Mount Magnus. I know Vanford Laboratories is nice because of all the Vialto gear and the Vialto armors, but I would rather have a good gameplay experience versus the loot, because I'll just go Rezo Forest, get some katanas over there, put them up onto the market, make some good moolah. Now with all of the bugs out of the way, I need to address the web link panel rewards part 1, which again is the EXP, the Meseta earned, and the rare drop rate. So the EXP earned plus 10% is working. This I have tested, I've checked, it's fine. The N Meseta earned plus 50% is weird. I don't know if it's working. I have noticed that I am getting more Meseta when I kill enemies normally. I used to get like 12 or 14 Meseta, and now I'm getting like 18 Meseta. And I think premium members are getting 19 Meseta, so I know that it is active, but I don't understand how the 50% is working. I thought it would just be 50% more Meseta, you know? So for example, if you made 10 Meseta by killing a mob, you would now get 15 Meseta, because 50% of 10 is 5, so 10 plus 5 equals 15, right? Like, maybe I'm just really dumb at math, and maybe that's not correct for some reason, but that's how I thought the 50% Meseta increase worked. But apparently not, or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, okay? Let me know in the comment section below how the math works if you know, because I am really off-put by this. And another thing about this N Meseta earn plus 50% is the target quests. So when you go to the T's, you kill it, usually you get like 1,000 to 1,500. That is not gaining the 50% boost, even though it clearly says here, the following boost will be active for all quests in NGS blocks. So I don't know if this is just my bad English and I just don't understand this. Now for the rare drop rate plus 36%, I can meme this up and just be like, ha ha ha, rare drop rate doesn't exist, lol. But on a serious note, rare drop rate plus 36% is only increasing the amount of 4-star weapons that you're going to get, your 4-star rarity weapons and armors. This indirectly affects the fixas. However, this does not mean that you have a 36% higher chance of getting a fixa unit or a fixa weapon, okay? It just simply means you're going to be seeing more 4-star rarity armors and weapons dropping. Now, let's say that you get 10 4-star rarity weapons. In this 10 weapons, maybe you have a 10% chance. I don't actually know the percentages, don't quote me on that. I'm just pulling numbers out of my butt here. But let's just say that there's 10% chance that in these 10 weapons, you might get a fixa. Then in that fixa, maybe you have a 1% chance of getting a fixa 5. You have a 5% chance of getting a fixa 4, so forth and so on. And it just slowly trickles down and breaks down. And you're like, wow, the chances of me getting a fixa 5 is like 0.001%. Something along those lines. That is my understanding of how rare drop rate works. Again, if I'm absolutely wrong, correct me in the comments section below. Now don't forget, there is a new AC scratch ticket called the Oracle Renewal Collection. I personally would hold off because the next scratchy coming out next week with the maid swimsuit, with the one that looks like Hanukkah from Dead or Alive swimsuit, and there are a lot of very, very lewd and sexy stuff in the next scratch. So if there's nothing that you really want from this scratch, I would hold off for the next scratch, simply because the next scratch is all new items, while this is a renewal scratch, which means this is base PSO2 items just revamped into 8K textures. Alright, with all of that out of the way, as a free-to-play player, what should you be doing this week? You should just be going to combat zones and playing a lot, if you want to, okay? I don't want people to force themselves and burn themselves out, because next week we are getting the whole new urgent quest with the mining base, which is going to have the new weapon series, the evil coat series. All right, so hold off on all your upgrades. And second of all, we're getting the swimsuit collection, or the swimsuit scratch, so that's going to be in high demand, so you make sure that you have enough Meseta if you are going for any of those costumes. And yeah, this week is all about preparation, all about farming, and just having fun, okay? If you're not having fun preparing all of this stuff, just don't bother with it. Just do your weeklies, get your 700,000, and maybe do your alpha reactors every single day so you get almost 1.2 million Meseta every single week, which is a substantial amount. But if you do a little bit of grinding here and there, pretty confident you can make like 1.5 to 2 million a week. It shouldn't be too bad. As for me, my game plan was to level up my Braver and my Force to level 20. It wasn't very difficult. Okay, my Force is 19. I gotta work on that a little bit, get that to level 20. But that's about it. Actually, there's one more thing I want to ask you guys. Have you guys been experiencing micro lag or like lag spikes in general? Recently, I've been experiencing lag spikes on ship 1 quite recently, and it happens in specific blocks only. It's kind of weird. It's like where damage numbers don't come up anymore and like nothing moves and you're just like, oh, what's going on? Kind of reminds me back like when the game first released, you know, when the lag was like super bad, but it doesn't happen that often. It happens like once every 2 hours, once an hour, somewhere along those lines. But in ship 2, I've never experienced that. So let me know in the comment section below. Does that happen to you guys on other ships as well? Or is this like a ship 1 exclusive issue or problem? Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
Can I say except you're welcome for the heals, the boosts, the